Yo, Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Marino the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squad's the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check as I'm chess. What's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they drag the chains, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind.
What up, Fin fans? Welcome to another episode of the Fin Posse Podcast. I'm your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. How is everyone doing this lovely Thursday? How is everyone doing? Good morning, Blake, good morning, Bonnie, good morning. Let me roll back up through Aqua, good morning. Mike Jones, good morning. Cliff, good morning. How is everyone doing today? I thought I'd jump in and do a real quick video for you. Not a lot of new news, but same old. The Dolphins nightmare season, this nightmare that we are living in. It's perfect time of year, right? Halloween, spooky. So yeah, we're living in an absolute football nightmare at the current moment. The Miami Dolphins are just in complete disarray. And folks, we got to keep it real with ourselves. This probably isn't even the worst of the worst. We probably haven't even hit rock bottom yet, which is absolutely insane to think that it could get worse than what we're at right now, right? But it can get worse than what is going on right now. again, I don't think this team has stopped playing for Mike McDaniel yet. At some point, they're gonna give up completely on Mike McDaniel. What's that going to look like? We've already been so bad offensively, defensively, special teams. We've already been so bad. I can't imagine what it's going to look like when these guys finally say, F this, F this. I can't imagine what it's going to look like. More devastating news on the Miami Dolphins this week. Darren Waller has to go on IR because of a pec injury. Can I say I'm surprised that Darren Waller's hurt again? No. He has a history of injuries. He started the season off injured. He came in and played wonderful for us. I advocated for us to trade him and get some kind of value for him if we could. So that's devastating to this football team. Shake, what's up, brother? Good to see you in the chat. Haven't seen you in a while. How you doing, brother? But Darren Waller, that's a huge loss for us. I thought that Darren Waller would be able to take off some of that pressure of losing Tyreek Hill, but now he is gone. Again, you know how my feelings on Jalen Waddle. I'm over Jalen Waddle. He's just not the type of player that he's not a leader. He's not a number one receiver. He is a decent player, but not someone that's going to be able to lead this receiving core. So we're in trouble as far as receivers go. We're in trouble as far as the tight end position goes. We're in trouble at running back because Devon Achane can't block for himself. He's played great this year so far, but again, this offensive line is in shambles. Jonah hasn't been very good as a rookie. Austin Jackson and James Daniels both on IR. God only knows when they're going to return. Aaron Brewer is playing hurt. So this offense is Tua Tagovailoa has regressed. He's playing at an all-time low level. He's dealing with some injuries, of course. But again, I feel like Tua has something more going on than just the injuries he's speaking on. I've said it a million times, and I've seen that Doug picked up on it, and either he caught one of my videos or maybe it just came to him also that he thinks it's the hip too. You know, he thinks it may be the hip too. Now, I don't want to be like a certain somebody, but I was definitely the first one to say that, you know, he has not been the same since that Houston game where I felt like he did something to that hip and he has not been the same. I feel like he's completely regressed this year. He's not making the throws that we have come accustomed to him making on a regular basis. He's lost velocity on his passes. He's definitely not able to throw as deep as he once was. So yeah, I mean, it's only going to get worse from here. Now we don't have that tight end. Now we don't have a guy that can go down and get them jump balls. And Darren Waller played fantastic for us in the limited time that he played. Defensively, I guess you could say we played a bit better last week. Tua did put this defense back against the wall last week with his 3 interceptions. A couple of them were deep in their own territory. So look, this defense has been horrible too. Special teams, a fumble last week. You know, they haven't been good either. A couple missed kicks. Again, it's and then news out of Miami. We were all expecting if we got embarrassed by the Cleveland Browns, and I think that we did, right? We got embarrassed by the Cleveland Browns. There's nothing else you can call that performance. It was an embarrassing performance. And I thought that if we got embarrassed by Cleveland, that it would make a move mandatory for Stephen Ross. Some kind of move to show us fans that he's not all right with the current product that's being put on the field. He's not all right with the current results that the Miami Dolphins are bringing. Yet there's no moves. And there's no moves planned for the immediate future. And then news comes out this week that they're not planning a fire sale. They're not planning on moving on from certain players that they should be looking to move on from so we can build this team for the future. We should be doing everything we can to try to trade away some of these guys and gain draft capital for the future. We kept Junkins contained. I'm gonna come out and say this is a win for us. Did we? He had 100 yards. He had 3 touchdowns. Is that containment? And again, I know Tua put the defense's back up against the wall. You know what I mean? But it's not like Judkins had a trash game. It's not like we held him to 30 yards. You know what I mean? He had 100 yards rushing. He had 3 rushing touchdowns. And this kid's a rookie, right? Joe said 3.4 still gets you a first down. Timothy says trade down from the number 1 pick to get additional picks for 2026 and 2027. See, Timothy, I don't trade that first pick if there's someone that you're in love with. If people are in love with Mendoza, I think the Miami Dolphins should draft Mendoza. And Miller, it was definitely an improvement. But again, we knew that Cleveland wasn't trying to throw the ball, so we could stack up against the run last week. It was a rainy, wet day. We knew they weren't trying to throw the football. Joe R says Mendoza is our future. Jaquez says Mendoza has to be the goal. And, it's nice to have extra picks, but that top of the first round, that first couple of picks, if you can get the number 1 quarterback in the draft, you gotta take them. You gotta take them. First off, Mendoza, and I got to go more in depth with Mendoza, and I got a video planned on Mendoza here coming in the next few days. Mendoza is a Miami Dolphin fan. Mendoza knows the pain that we feel as Dolphin fans. What better than having a quarterback guiding your team that knows your fans' pain that they've been feeling for the last 25 years? What better player to lead you back to the level of Dolphins football that we expect and believe that we can have? This guy knows our pain. He's felt our pain. I'm excited about that possibility more so than anything. Joe says he's tall, can take hits, no brutal injury history. Any viewers are great. Has a ton of zip on his throws. Not the biggest arm, but can still make those throws downfield. Miller says, my 2 cents is trade down from late first and see about trading back. What do you mean late first? What late first? We're not going to have a late first. We're going to have an early first. See, I'm against that. I think you take your quarterback. I think you take a top prospect ex quarterback. You don't wait till a second round prospect. I agree, Glenn. You don't trade down when you can have the top quarterback in the draft to be able to take the fifth best quarterback in the draft. That's not what's best. If you can get the best quarterback in the draft, you take that quarterback. If you feel like he's a franchise changing quarterback, you got to take him. Joe says, I don't see how we get the first pick. I think we could lose that Jets game. We'll be in the Meadowlands. Isn't it impossible to think that the Jets could beat Cincinnati this weekend? But we need a competent general manager, because we can draft Mendoza all we want, but if we got a general manager that's still going to say, forget about the offensive line, you might as well just pass on the guy, right? We might as well pass on the guy, because I don't care how good this kid is. If we allow him to come in behind this trash offensive line and just get sent to the slaughterhouse, it's never going to work out in our favor. And that's right. He doesn't need to start year one. We'll still have Tua under contract, more than likely. We're probably not going to be able to move on from Tua. Nobody's going to want to trade for Tua as much as I'd love to trade him. Probably not, Glenn. I'm done spending money on this team. Last year I went to Jet Stadium. It was freaking cold. It was miserable. I don't, you know what I mean? Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet. Let's say we have the second pick and Mendoza is gone. Then would you trade down? It depends. I mean, there's a lot of college football season left. There might be another quarterback that I'm happy taking. Like I said, if I'm not in love with the guy, I'd consider trading down. If I'm not in love with someone and I think they can be a franchise altering pick, then I'd consider trading down. But if I feel like that player can be a franchise type player, I'm not moving on. Shake, you just moving all over the country going to games, brother. We won't have to pay a quarterback for a minute, so that dead money won't be as bad. That's true, Joe. That's true. And then in 2027, we'll have a ton of money. We'll have a ton of money. And that's why I'm so concerned with us not moving on from players right now. Like, why isn't Jalen Waddle being shopped? Teams are calling for Jalen Waddle. Why aren't we considering moving on from Jalen Waddle? Why are we not moving Bradley Chubb out? Why are we not moving Jalen Phillips, Matthew Judon, who was a healthy scratch last week? Also, Timothy, I'd consider trading down if, say Mendoza gets picked by the Jets. We're not in love with the number 2 quarterback in this draft, and we feel super excited about a quarterback that's coming out in 2027. Next year is going to be another wash year. Next year we're not going to be very good. So you got to temper your expectations. So if Mendoza's gone at 1 and we're not in love with the number 2 quarterback or any player in that first round, I'd consider trading for future first round draft picks. I mean, for the number 2 pick, you could probably get a number 1 next year and 2 2s this year. Or a 1 next year, a 1 this year, and a 3rd, or something of that nature. What happens if Manning comes out? I mean, I'd have to investigate Manning more. Of course, you want to think that he's a Manning. He's going to be great, but I'm not drafting a guy based just solely off his last name. He's got to prove that he's that player. Now, I think he has the skill set to be a top player. I think he has the brain to be a top player, but he's got to be able to put it together. Now, if we're in a position to draft Manning and we don't want Manning, think of the haul of picks that we could get for him. I think the Indianapolis Colts would give up anything to get Arch. They may just be waiting for the trade deadline. However, I'm not trading Waddle unless we get a first. His contract hit is low, and we need some talent for this new head coach. See, I disagree, Bonnie, and that's fine. We can disagree. By the time this team's ready to compete, Waddle, I'd rather have the picks. Now, I'd love to get a first round pick. I would. I don't think anybody's given up a first round pick for Jalen Waddle, but maybe. I still think they see Daniel Jones as a bridge quarterback, Joe. He has played good. And I think you're right. I think that they should see him as a possible franchise quarterback. But look what the Vikings did with Sam Darnold. He won them 15 games and they moved on from him. And Sam Darnold is still fairly young. Glenn says right now Mendoza is the 3rd ranked quarterback. Like I said, there's a lot of college football left to be played. There's still a bunch of football to be played. Raphael, what's up, brother? Dolphin Don, what's up? Make sure y'all hit them like buttons. Pretty, please. And make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed. And turn on those notifications. Johar said he's very intelligent too. Would be a great quarterback to learn behind. They could draft their guy and sit him 2 years behind Jones. It's definitely true, Joe. I can't get behind waiting for a wide receiver in the draft. I heard Poupart and his guest talking about how badly the Dolphins messed up that Waddle draft. And it's just crazy to think about that. Jamar Chase was drafted right before. We could have had Jamar Chase, Panay Sewell was drafted right after Waddle. Micah Parsons was still on the board. There was someone else. Who else were they talking about? Who else was on the board? I forget. Too many great wide receivers come out every year. That's why I would rather have the second round pick for Waddle at this point. Eagles gave up a first and third for AJ Brown. Waddle's not on the same wavelength as AJ Brown. AJ Brown I see as a number one receiver. Jalen Waddle, I don't see it. I don't see Jalen Waddle in that same conversation. Nah, Henry Ruggs was the draft before. But yeah, I feel like the season's going to get worse. It's not going to get better. I seen that Omar's trying to have some positive vibes. Now, I don't think Omar believes that the Miami Dolphins are going to go on this magical run, but he was talking about, oh, if they win 9 straight, 9 out of 10, blah, blah, blah. That's not happening. There's no reason to believe this Miami Dolphins are winning any more games this year. This Miami Dolphins team is bad. In the chat, do you see the Miami Dolphins win any more games this year? And if so, how many? What's the Miami Dolphins' final record? I think the only possibility really is the Jets game. I think the Saints are going to beat us. Raphael, I think the Saints will beat us. And I think the Jets are going to beat us too. I think the Jets in cold weather, by that time, I think Tua will be out. I know everybody's clamoring to see Quinn Ewers. I think Quinn Ewers will probably be starting by that point. And I don't think Quinn Ewers is the answer at quarterback neither. You'll probably have a bunch of Miami's team on injured reserve because that's what happens. You get late in that season, people get nicked up, they go on injured reserve rather trying to play. And I think we're going to be dealing with a depleted roster by then. And we're just going to be bad. We're going to be really, really bad. We're already really bad. Octane says, I seriously want Riley Leonard from Indy. Is that the quarterback from Notre Dame? Is that the quarterback from Notre Dame? I'd stay with a ship. Tua leading the league in interceptions with Gino. Play Tua for top pick. Morning, Michael. I'll make that prediction after I see how we lose against the Falcons. Laugh out loud. If I see some fight, they might win a couple more. Even if these players want to play for Mike, they will still lose because his team is just bad. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of holes. And I'm nervous to see what Bijan Robinson does against this Miami Dolphins defense. It might get ugly quick. Yeah, I did. Octane, I did watch the Riley Leonard with the Gruden camp. I watched all the Gruden camps. That's why I think Gruden could be a decent NFL head coach for us. I think he'd be a decent coaching option for us. The guy knows the game of football. John Gruden definitely knows the game of football. I think players respect John Gruden. I think he knows how to. He's got that good balance of being cool, but he also knows how to be stern with his players. Yeah, Raphael's been talking about the quarterback from Duke for a while. We're going to start getting into it. Timothy gave me a message yesterday and said, when can we start doing some draft talk? I said, man, if I do the draft talk now, I won't have nothing to talk about all off season, but I'm going to try to figure out some stuff where maybe once a week we focus in on one player at a position of need for the Miami Dolphins and go over that player and keep an eye on what he's producing. Big C, how about bringing in Malik Willis? See, I don't need Malik Willis is still fairly young, but I'd rather draft a quarterback. I'd rather draft a young quarterback, get him on that rookie deal, and go from there. That's my personal belief and my want. I don't want to bring in someone that's been somewhere else. He has played good football, but he was also playing bad enough in Tennessee where they shipped him out and still decided to draft quarterbacks. How many quarterbacks you think will go in the first round? I don't know. I'd have to look at the draft class closely, but typically, 3, 4, 5 go in the first. Typically, I mean, this year I think only 2 did, but this was a bad quarterback class. Cam Ward would have never been a first round pick in any other draft class. If you did one player in position of need, you would have 22 players to review. Glenn, you got jokes. You're probably right, though. You're probably right. I'm trying to laugh it off, but Glenn, you're probably right there, brother. I got a couple little. Maybe you won't think they're funny, but they're supposed to be funny videos to show you. Maybe you've seen them already. Yeah, let's share these. Maybe you've already seen them. Let's see. Oh.
Tyreek, that'd be Josh guy.
I don't know. This, all right. Hold on.
Right, it only takes 1.
Shoot. Dang it.
Hi, this good since I was in the bathroom 10 minutes ago. Or when I was in the bathroom 10 minutes before that.
How we back, coach? I got a crooked leg and Tua Ben had crooked eyes for 2 years now.
Because we got to win, Tyreek. That upbeat Josh guy was right. It only takes 1. Ugh, sorry about that. My nose candy's all cut up with baby laxatives.
I love candy. Can I have some, coach? Tua, you got enough brain damage. And coach, you need to face it. This season is over.
Tyreek, if there's anyone that can turn this season around, it's Tua flinging the ball and me leading the team. Now, if you guys excuse me, I'll be in the bathroom taking dumps and doing bumps.
I should have requested a trade. Tyreek, does this smell like poop to you?
Yeah, we did it, guys. We gotta win. We are so back. I haven't felt a high this good since I was in the bathroom 10 minutes ago. Or when I was in the bathroom 10 minutes before that.
How are we back, coach? I got a crooked leg, and Tua Ben had crooked eyes for 2 years now.
Maybe you guys don't think that's funny, but I I thought it was entertaining. Here, I got one more. See if I can get it on there. I don't know how you rewind these shits. I'm gonna let it play out before I turn the volume on, I guess. Let me see. Where do I rewind it?
Bad benching you.
Tua play football.
Not anymore. We're moving you to the bench.
But Tua bulked head for team.
And now Tua get Waterford team. You'll be our Bobby Boucher.
But Bobby was tarded. Tua not tarded.
Of course you weren't, buddy. That's why you're getting a super important job. It'll be a promotion.
Whoa.
You're gonna be the sideline electrolyte administrator. You gotta make sure all the players' electrolytes are balanced.
Like a scientist.
Sure, whatever.
Wow, Tua better get started. You're an asshole, coach.
I'm afraid we got some bad news, Tua. We're benching you.
Tua play football.
Yeah, like I said, maybe they're all in just good humor, but maybe all didn't think they were very funny. But you gotta laugh at something, right? You gotta laugh at something about this bad, terrible position we're in. But yeah, nothing has changed. No changes in the foreseeable future. My big thing is there's a lot of things that I'm okay not being changed. I'm all right with most. My biggest thing is we must change general managers. Chris Greer needs to leave because if Chris Greer's here, I have no confidence that we can build a winning team. Let's say Tua's not experiencing hip issues or he's not hurt. It's just he's struggling right now. You get a new general man. We're stuck with Tua pretty much for one more year unless we completely go full-fledged rebuild. If Chris Greer's replaced and we get a competent general manager in here and say they give it one more go with Tua and Mike McDaniel, I could even be all right with that just because, that 2027 season, I know that we can move on from Tua. We can move on from Mike. Well, we should have a high draft pick. We should have a lot of cap room, and we'll still be able to build the team. What I cannot be on board with is Chris Greer leading the way for another rebuild. Because if Chris Greer remains on this team when we're drafting in April, May, whenever the draft is, there's a good chance that Chris Greer is in it for another 3-4 years. Minimum. They're going to give Chris Greer the keys to the castle and allow him to try to rebuild this football team again. And that's one thing that I cannot be okay with. I can be okay with one more whack season with Tua and Mike McDaniel. What I cannot be all right with is 4 more years of Chris Greer. We're going to be bad next year anyway. So if we're bad with Tua and Mike McDaniel, okay, whatever. But I cannot be bad with Chris Grier and allowing him to ruin next year's draft, the year after that's draft, the year after that's draft, continuing to bring in hurt free agents, continuing not to address major holes on this football team. I just can't deal with that. That's one thing I can't deal with. And Glenn, that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that it's a complete rebuild. But for some strange reason, and maybe it's just my paranoia at being a Dolphin fan all these years, I just feel like for some reason, even though we all think that it's mandatory we move on from Chris Grier, I'm just not positive that that's the direction this team goes in. I'm just not positive that that's what we do. I have no faith in Stephen Ross to make that move. But I just want to drop a quick video. We'll be back tomorrow to break down the Miami Dolphins and the Atlanta Falcons. Listen, if you're playing DraftKings, if you're playing FanDuel, make sure you bet on Bijan Robinson having a big day. He's one of the best young rushers in football, and he's going up against the worst rush defense in all of football, the Miami Dolphins. They haven't been able to stop a nosebleed. So if your team's going to lose, you might as well win some money. We're going to be breaking down Mendoza here in the next few days, the quarterback out of Indiana, a big-time Miami Dolphins fan growing up, one of the top quarterbacks in next year's draft class, a lot of people's favorite player to be drafted to the Miami Dolphins. We'll be talking about him, showing some highlights of him, and discussing whether he is the right fit and whether he can save this franchise. But until then, I appreciate you all. I love you all. You know what it is. Fins up forever. Make sure you hit that like button for me. If you're not subscribed, subscribe and hit the notification button. Sometimes I'll be a little late. Sometimes I'll be a little early. You know what it is. Until next time, I love y'all and fins up. Peace.
Yo. Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Marino the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squad's the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.